Hello everyone, and welcome to another couple of my LEGO Mocs. In case you didn't know, my LEGO world has a wasteland. Most people in my world live in crowded, overpopulated cyberpunk cities that are full of violence, crime, and giant robots punching each other. But there are some who would rather live a quiet life in solitude out in the barren deserts between the cities. It's a hard life that not everyone can learn, but for those who can, the life of a wastelander is far more peaceful than life in the city by a long shot. The Wasteland not only has way fewer people in it, but ironically way more resources to go around since it is full of ruins and leftovers from the old wars that turned it into a wasteland to begin with. And this means it is populated not by bloodthirsty radioactive savages, but instead by mostly peaceful scavengers who build their homesteads from the ruins of the old world and are happy to give their neighbors a hand. Which brings me to the actual point of this video. These are a couple of inhabitants of the Wasteland that we will take a look at one at a time. As always, if you like either of these builds and you want to help support my channel, you can find their instructions over on my PayHip page, which will be linked in the description as well as my pinned comment down below. This first one is called the Wanderer, and he is exactly that. He's a nomad who wanders from one place to the next with zero destination in mind. He enjoys the quiet serenity of the wasteland and loves spending his days exploring new places and, if he's lucky, meeting new people. Although most days his mech with no name is his only companion. What made the Wanderer so fun to build was the fact that I could really do anything with him. I didn't need to give him weapons or armor, but I totally could have if I wanted to, and it would still work. The only things I really wanted to include was a walking stick and a big pack of stuff for him to be carrying. And speaking of that big pack of stuff, it probably gave me the most trouble out of this entire build. I personally love building disorder, but at the same time it can be really tricky for me to do. It feels almost counterintuitive to make stuff look messy and random on purpose, which is ironic since I have zero trouble doing it in real life. But when it does work out, I really enjoy looking at it. It's fun for me to imagine how everything ended up where it did and why. Like, what's in that jug? What does this do? Did he find that buzzsaw yesterday or 20 years ago? How much stuff is he carrying that he's completely forgotten about? These are the things I like to think about when I look at the Wanderer. I also really love the strings holding everything together. I really need to use those pieces more. Without his pack, the Wanderer's mech is basically just a simple humanoid frame with a guy strapped to the front. And I love that. If your whole deal was exploring the world, I don't think you would want to see it through a bunch of monitors and heads-up displays, although I guess I did still give him one. I think you would want to be out there experiencing it all firsthand with your own eyes, and since no one is shooting at you, there's no need to bog down your mech with a bunch of heavy armor and weapons. All you need is a walking stick with some solar panels on it, and you're good to go. Also, the cable going from his staff into his arms is the type of detail that just makes me so happy. And here's a quick look at the Wanderer himself. He's got sunglasses and a pair of goggles, so you know his eyes are Fort Knox level protected. Now I know what you're thinking, but Mindbender, you said the Wasteland was peaceful, but that guy has a gun and a sword. And you would be right. This is King Henry, or Hank the Tank for short, and he's actually part of the reason the Wasteland is as peaceful as it is. Remember when I said the Wasteland is full of old abandoned war machines and a bunch of people who are good with tools? Well, that means if you decide you want to go into the Wasteland and start trouble, you are probably going to be up against some very well-equipped people who preferred the peace and quiet. King Henry, or Hank the Tank for short, is one of those people, and he likes to make it his business to protect the Wasteland and to keep it from becoming the Mad Max version. So while he may look rough around the edges, I can assure you he has a heart of gold. Now, while he does come equipped with the aforementioned sword and gun, which are really just a sword and gun, these are small potatoes compared to King Henry's main weapon. This little number is a weaponized electromagnet that Hank designed himself. Using this cartoonishly oversized battery as a power source, the magnet is able to pull stuff towards him, push it away, or even catch incoming projectiles in midair and send them flying back at whoever fired them. If you're thinking the Vortex Shield from Titanfall 2, yeah. I had a lot of fun designing Hank the Tank's suit simply because I got to put a lot of stuff on it. I wonder how often that axe gets used, and I love that giant battery that is so clearly not supposed to be there. My favorite bit is this minifig cape piece that I used on the front as, I guess, an apron? Who knows why it's there, but I'm glad that it is. It was also really fun shaping a cockpit around this very uniquely shaped windscreen. I imagine this mech was originally intended for some kind of manual labor, but then King Henry got to it, and now the machine gun on its shoulder is somehow the second most dangerous thing about it. And speaking of Hank, let's get a better look at... So what do you guys think? Is the Wasteland pill right for you, or are you sticking to the cyberpunk cities where you get to watch robots punch each other? As always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you really like this video, feel free to subscribe and leave a comment telling me what you thought of these guys. I've been Mindbender, and I will talk to you later.